Most of us would not answer calls from unknown numbers. We just let it go to voicemail, and if it's legit, they would leave a message. What if we got a call that said hospital, or police, or your own bank? If we were honest, most of us would answer these calls, especially those of us with kids. So the difference between ignoring a call and answering a call is the caller ID. The caller ID has such power. Yes, and that is exactly how people are getting scammed and losing literally hundreds and thousands of dollars. Let me show you.
That phone call would cost him $137,130.
All our money's gone.
It starts with a text message from your bank asking you to confirm a transaction. This is pretty standard in the US. Did you attempt a $64 transaction at whatever store on whatever date? Reply with 1 for yes or 2 for no. And since you obviously didn't make that transaction, you reply with 2 for no. And then you get a message telling you to secure your account and open a dispute along with the fraud department's number. This is the same wording that a legitimate bank would send you if you replied no to that transaction. But then you get a phone call. When you look at your phone, it says your bank's name, Fraud Division, and it's the same number that is on the text message.
He seemed very knowledgeable about Chase.
She wasn't asked for account information, her social security number, or password.
Very customer service oriented.
And you weren't worried?
Not worried at all.
They tell you your date of birth. They tell you your address that they have on file. They tell you about a recent transaction that you made at some shop. And all that information is correct. And they don't ask you for anything. They then go into this whole spiel about how your account has been flagged for fraudulent transactions, but before they can help you, they need to confirm that the number that they have listed on the account is correct, so they're going to send you an OTP, a one-time PIN, which arrives on your phone from your bank.
That he did in fact receive via text from real Chase, only to then unwittingly share it with the scammer who was pretending to be Chase Bank.
Now, you obviously know that you shouldn't tell anyone your one-time PIN. So what they do is they tell you not to tell them this OTP, as it's against their policy. So they transfer you to an automated system so you can punch in the code.
This is the Fraud Department Automated Confirmation System. Please type in the one-time PIN code to confirm you are the account holder.
And the second that you do that, you are screwed. You just confirmed whatever transaction they made and your money is gone. The seriously messed up thing is that this is so simple to do. Now, I'm not going to show you all the steps for obvious reasons, but let's start with changing the caller ID to show anything that they want. And this is really not that difficult. There are many systems that are available that will allow you to change the caller ID to show any text or any number that you wish. You can even add a logo. This is referred to as branded caller ID, and it's typically used by call centers as they know that nobody answers calls from unknown numbers. Now, to be very clear, there is nothing wrong with companies who offer branded caller ID. They will first verify that the name on the caller ID does indeed match with the company, specifically to avoid these type of scammers. However, the same tech that allows the legitimate companies to offer the service is also found on the dark web, where they have zero checks, and you can pretty much put whatever you want in the caller ID, and this is called number spoofing. And if you don't want to go to the dark web to buy this service, you can just make your own with a bunch of freely available tools that are out there. These range from terrible to excellent and require a little bit of technical knowledge, or at least the ability to watch a YouTube tutorial. So the tech part of caller ID is very simple. It's how they build the first level of trust so they know that you're going to answer that call and reply to that text message. After all, it came from your own bank. They also play on the fact that this is a stressful situation, so they offer you relief by helping to make sure you don't get scammed. and they are really good at the social engineering thing. The next level of trust is the information that they provide you. Now, to get this information, there is a manual way of doing things, and then there is the easy way, just depending on the type of scammer you happen to be dealing with. I'm going to show you both, and why I keep telling you that you need Delete Me, who are actually today's sponsors of this video. So here is the manual way. Simply go into Google and type "I bought this," and then the site twitter.com, and all the people that tweeted things like "I bought this" will show up. And you can do the same for Instagram, and you can do the exact same thing for Facebook until you find your target. So in this particular case, well, this person bought this shirt on Facebook. She posted it. So let's go into the profile, and then we're going to go into the search, and we're going to type in birthday. Let's see if we can figure out when her birthday is. And ta-da! She posted that that's her 47th birthday on this date. See how simple it is to get very basic information from stuff that's publicly available. So this is one method, but it does take a bit of work. Now, the easy way is scammers simply log into data broker websites and search for people's information, such as names, ages, phone numbers, and a whole bunch more. These systems are super cheap, and for a couple of bucks, you can really get a lot of information about many people. And that's all the info they need to pull this kind of scam off. Whilst you can go to each data broker website and ask for your information to be removed, since there are thousands of these sites, this is going to take a bit of time. And what's worse is after the info is removed, the next time they buy more data, your information may be back, so you'll have to start all over again. Again, why I keep telling you about Delete Me. I have been using them for years, and what they do is they get your information removed from these data broker websites. They act as your agent, and they are great at finding your info and getting it taken down, and the best bit is that you don't have to do anything. And they keep monitoring those websites, so if the info ever comes back, they get it taken down again and again and again. And they send you this report so you can see just how many sites have your info and the status of your info being removed. Go to joindeleteme.com/Liron20 and get 20% off when you sign up. Link will be in the description. Okay, but since you didn't give the scammers your OTP because they handed you off to a system, how do they get that OTP then? Well, that's also easy. They simply take the recording of you punching in the numbers, upload it to a website that's a DTMF decoder, and there it is. That is the PIN that you put into it. But some of you may be thinking, hold on, in the US, isn't there something that your money is insured up to $250,000 under the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation? Actually, no. This is typically only applicable if it's the bank's fault or if the bank shuts down. And clearly, they are not the bank's employees, so it wasn't the bank's fault, so don't rely on this insurance. So besides using Delete Me, how else can you protect yourselves from the caller ID scam? Well, firstly, if you get a call from your bank's fraud division after you reply to that initial text message, tell them you're going to call them back. I don't know, you're driving. Then hang up. Call the bank directly using the number on their websites or the number at the back of your credit or debit card. If they did indeed call you, there'll be notes on their system. If they have no idea what you're talking about, that's good. It means the caller was a scammer and you didn't give them anything, so just block their number and ignore their calls. Now, secondly, a big red flag is pressure and urgency. If they tell you that you need to do something in the next 10 minutes or your money will be gone, that is not how the real fraud department works. So look out for this urgency tactic. And remember that these scammers are using AI to fake people's voices. So check out how they do that right over here. Give the video a quick thumbs up to like it, and I will see you in this video. Let's go.